In these coming videos, I'm just going to show you real quick how to quickly build a database for your business or small company. In the previous video, we built a database for printers. We built an inventory tracking system for heavy equipment. And today we're going to just do a quick boutique store. So this may be a typical business you see. You're going to track things like the item name, such as address or something, SKU. We're going to track, things like category, size, and so on. So I'm not going to use any coding, but as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to trigger something if the reorder level hits a certain threshold. So we can flash a message and let the person know that we need to reorder some more of this stock. So let me cover what I have in this database so far. I've just got a few items. We've got, jeans, blouse, cardigan, t-shirt, beanie, and, just typical things we would see in a database. So what I'm going to actually do is we're going to add another record, and I'm going to show you how to auto increment this in future lessons, but I'm just trying to keep it beginner friendly. So we're not going to cover the coding part yet, but you can customize this however you want. So we can move all this stuff around and we can program all these fields to do just about anything. So watch my other two videos to see the cool things that you can do. So maybe we have something like a t-shirt. SKU could be something like TS123 category, top, size large, color black, quantity on hand. Say we're running low. I'm going to show you how this reorder level will work. So for example, we have 2 of these shirts on hand. They cost us maybe $5, and we'll say the total cost is 10. Supplier, chic threads, and the reorder level, we're going to set it at 5. Quantity on hand is 2, but we're supposed to reorder when it gets below 5. So let's see if this works or does something interesting. Location, maybe rack A1, status low. So I'm just going to save this and we'll see what happens. So when I tried to save this record, we get a message that says to reorder the t-shirt. That's because this number on hand is lower than the reorder level. So that's just, an example of how you can program this. And if you stay tuned, at the end of the video, this is actually, I think, 1 or 2 lines of code. So it's pretty simple to set this up. That's why a lot of people use FilePro. And I'm going to cover how to build this from scratch. And if you're not familiar with FilePro, you can head on over to their website to download. I believe they have a free version of what I'm using, which is the FilePro Plus Developer Edition. I'm also using the FP SQL edition for reporting, which it also has its own built-in reporting as well. So they have demos, they have a support page, they have an online manual that you can check out. And if you want to get a head start, they have a YouTube page and you can go through all their tutorials. You can build your own invoicing system. So there's quite a few lessons on how to do that. I believe there's about 9 chapters worth. And I want to show you kind of an updated version, even though you can still go through this today. So all these tutorials will still apply in the year 2025. And I've been using this software for a long time, and there's no YouTube videos on how to do the cool new things, such as using it has an export to Excel feature, JSON, PDF, and you can even fill out an Outlook email template, which I showed in my first 2 videos. So I recommend just checking this out to get a head start. So let's build this boutique store. First thing you're going to do is go to define files. This is kind of the programming area where you set up your file that you want. And this will be the runtime area where your regular users will come in and, you know, update the database and things like that. So we'll go over to define files to define our boutique store. I'm going to just call this boutique store. I'm going to use a file profile. If you want to set a password, you can. I'm just going to leave it blank and hit enter. And this is where we set up our fields, our file profile. So I'm just going to put in a few fields. Probably the first thing we're going to track will be something like an item ID. And for that, maybe a typical item ID would be 6. So for example, we can have up to, I believe, let's see, we can have up to that many items in our store. So if we were running like a huge company, you know, it would be a long time before we hit this number. So that's kind of what the length is. So we're just going to kind of set it at 6. I think that's a good length. You can always increment this or set it lower. So the next thing we'll be tracking will be the item name that we saw in the beginning. So a typical item name might be 20 to 30 characters in length. And we're going to give ourselves enough room. We're going to have this, whenever we type it in, it's going to be all caps. So as soon as we hit the enter key and leave that field, it will put it will put the item name in all caps. So if you kind of forgot that, you can actually go back and watch the video, and you'll see when I hit the enter key that it just put the item name like floral dress. It just automatically capitalized it. So it just did that for us. So we didn't have to do anything extra. So that's kind of the no programming part of FilePro, is you can have this data validation. And for item ID, I put this .0. So that just means we can only accept integers. We can't accept anything like, you know, 12.0. We can only accept numbers that are just like this with no decimal place. So that's that field. And if you have any questions, there's a help at the bottom. You can just press F10 and it will bring up a help page. And you can also go to FP Tech. So this is the web page where you can set all these data types. You can set anything from, you know, phone numbers to things like this. We're going to be using this one quite a bit. And you can set the format of your date. So when you put in a date, it's going to be in one of these formats here. So we'll be using that. And I'll leave a link to all this stuff below. To save time, I've already built this out. So you can kind of see how this is going to be laid out. We've got a few new things here, such as unit cost. You can see it's a .2 field. So for example, this is going to accept things. Let me see. So it's going to accept things like, you know, 12.23, and we can only put in 2 decimal places. So we can't put in things like, you know, that are 3. So that's what a .2 field is, but you can read all about it on that help page. So there's not too many other things. There's up below, which is on that help page. It's just going to capitalize the first letter. And if there's a space and another word, then it will capitalize that letter. So that's all we got going on. For notes, we don't have anything set, but you can put an asterisk. This is optional. You can do that, or you can just leave it as nothing. So that's our database. It's pretty much built and ready to go. So I'm just going to hit escape, X, and we're going to create a screen 0, yes. And this other stuff I'll cover later, but for now we don't need to use this. So we've got our database ready, and over here we can actually customize the layout of our database so we can move these things around. If I hit the F8 button, or actually if I hit the F7 key, I can bring up this cursor and I can move things around. So we can easily customize this, and we can add highlighting and we can do things like that. So I'll cover all that later. For now, I'm just going to hit escape and we're going to exit, go to our store, screen 0, and we'll go to record 1. Says we don't have anything. So there we go. So we just built our database and it's ready to accept all the inventory that we have. For now, I don't have anything programmed. So I guess we'll get into the bonus part. I've actually restored the database. It's pretty simple to back up and restore your database. So I've already got everything back in order. And it only took me like 1 or 2 seconds to restore all this. So I'm going to show you the programming part of this. So for example, we have quantity on hand 10. And let's say, we're updating this and we're down to 4. So if I hit escape, it will flash a message that says we need to order some more of these dresses. I'm going to hit enter to continue to save this. And I'm going to show you the programming that we used on this. So this is just the beginner kind of part of this. We'll go to define processing. This is where you do all your programming. We'll go to our boutique store. We'll go to input processing. I'll cover what these other things are. And you can see it's just 2 lines of code and this end statement. So I wouldn't even count this. So this is kind of 2 lines of code. So you got quantity on hand. If it's less than or equal to the reorder level, we're going to flash a message. So that's pretty much the programming. And if you want to add more programming to this, you can click on F10, hit F9, and you can search through all these functions that we have. So there's a ton of functions, and you can even do things like encryption. So you can do, I believe they have AES encryption. So, you can get really advanced with this, and all these things have help to them. So something like mday, that's one I've used before. It says it returns a number of days, in a month. So this is something that you may use. You're calculating things like invoices, and you need to go forward or backward 30 days and things like that. You'll be using some functions like that. And if you're not familiar with FilePro programming, it's basically one big if-then statement. Kind of follows the basic programming principles, where it has functions like go sub, if you're familiar with the basic programming language. And you can get really advanced, create your own functions, routines, and I'm going to cover all that stuff later. So that was kind of the bonus part, and that's all I got for now. So if you like this video, subscribe, and let me know what you think.